Okay, we're raring to go this morning, right? Happy Friday. This is Restorative Yin Yoga, and today we are going to start ourselves off in a child's pose, which I know we don't usually do, but it's good to change things up. This is the arrangement that I have um, established, and that is some padding underneath the knees, just like this. Some kind of support, whether it's blankets, pillow, or bolster underneath the chest, like this. And then I've got a block that I'm going to just put underneath my head. So I'm kind of a blockhead here. And remember, your blocks have 3 different levels. They have, flat like that, this way and this way. So always take advantage of the right level for you. You can have your knees right close to each other like this if that's comfortable. Or if you like the feeling of your knees wide and your toes together, so you're getting in more into your hips, you can take that formation. You could even move your support this way, but this is just a little bit different if you want to try it this way. So you guys choose what is best for you this morning. And then once you get there, I want you to just relax, okay? Let all the stresses of the day, probably, hopefully, they're not too many yet, but the stresses of the week just melt right off of you. Just kind of from the middle of your body, let it come down the top of your head and just drain right down into the ground where it can be recycled into some positive energy. So I love visualization because it helps me get into that place of feeling it a lot faster and a lot easier. So I recommend visualization in what you're trying to create. So let's come into our breathing this morning. We're going to practice some boxed breathing. So when you're breathing in, imagine that there's one side of a square or a box. So make that in breath nice and steady and long. And then side 2 of the box is the pause at the top of your in breath. And then you're going to have an exhale, of course, which is side 3 of the box. And then before you take another breath, there's one more pause at the bottom of your exhale. So just in your mind's eye, see the breath moving around all the sides of that box or square. And maybe it looks like a really skinny box at first. See if you can stretch out the pauses between the in breath and the out breath. So it looks more of a evenly shaped box on all sides. Keep your awareness on each part of the breathing, and that will really help you come out of any thoughts that you were having before class, any problems that you were solving or worries that you had, or even just a to-do list today. So let yourself be fully integrated in your body with yourself right now. Everything else can just wait while we spend this really important time on self-care. So we're going to talk today about the divine feminine energy. So Mother's Day is in 2 days, and this is the perfect month for us to reflect on our femininity, on women, and the role that we play. And so before we get started, I want you to take just a minute, excuse me, and set your intention for what you would like to get out of today's class. So the first presidency has said, motherhood is near to divinity. It is the highest, holiest service to be assumed by mankind. And I don't know if you've been noticing this, but I have noticed a lot more talks and comments from the leaders of our church about how we are needed it's time for us to find our voice and become stronger and really advocate for ourselves and those around us, and especially in helping to gather Israel. So here's a couple quotes from our dear prophet. President Nelson said, "My dear sisters, you have spiritual gifts and propensities. I urge you with all the hope of my heart to pray to understand your spiritual gifts, to cultivate, use, and expand them, even more than you ever have. You will change the world as you do." And he said later in that same talk, "My dear sisters, we need you. We need your strength, your conversion, your conviction, your ability to lead, your wisdom, and your voices. We simply cannot gather Israel without you." So I'm going to take a second to just let those words really sink in. My dear sisters, we need you. And let that sink down deep into your heart. Feel the conviction of those words, that you are needed, that your unique brand of spiritual gifts and talents are really important right now. And so as you create a space this morning through our class, our Restorative Yin class, for you to feel maybe and connect with what those are. Sometimes we're so busy in our daily, busy life that we're not taking time to think about, what we have to offer. And we're just going through the motions, right? Automatic pilot. So use this time, this self-care time this morning, to think about what it is you have inside of you that you can offer, what makes you uniquely you, special and gifted. So consciousness is basically divided up into the masculine and the feminine side. We all have both of those traits inside of ourselves, and we need both of those to achieve our highest creative potential. So I'm not on the bandwagon with all the, masculine or man bashing that seems to kind of go along sometimes in the feminist movement. If you guys are feminists, I'm not talking down about you. I'm just saying we do need both of those energies here. The divine feminine represents the connection to that part of your consciousness that's responsible for nurturing, for intuition, empathy. And not to say that men don't also have that gift or can't also have that gift, but it's primarily a feminine energy. According to Kingsbury, the divine feminine is the aspect of the self associated with creation, intuition, community, sensuality, and collaboration. So maybe reflect on those words and see if any of those are resonating with you and your particular gifts and talents. And we're going to talk later about some ways that we can really tap in a little more to our feminine side, our feminine energy, and bring that up a little bit. All right, but first we're going to come out of our child's pose. I'm going to get into it so I can get into it so I can get out of it. So here we are with our child's pose. We're just going to push with our hands. If your hands were back, bring them up underneath your shoulders. I'm going to move my bolster so it's not in the way here. Stacking your shoulders above your wrists and your hips above your knees. And then we're just going to overemphasize some movement in the spine. So lift up your tailbone, let your belly press down towards the floor, open up your heart, and then let the crown of your head stretch up a little bit. And then we'll go the opposite direction. So tail towards the floor, draw the navel deeply into the spine, round your upper back. Feel that stretch between your shoulder blades and that opening. And then your eye gaze is looking down between your knees. All right, so just move in this fashion at your own pace. Just really enjoy the sensations in your body of movement, waking up your spine, your back. Your spine is holding you together, literally. So we give it a little bit of love, a little bit of nourishment. Feel that circulation, feel the lymph moving through your body. We don't just have the circulatory system, the lymphatic system is a really important part of our body that helps us to clean out our cells. It's just a tiny vessel of network or a vessel, sorry, I said that backwards, a tiny network of vessels right underneath the skin that helps to pump lymph out of the body. That's the waste that is created by our cells. Make sure you're breathing with your movement. Inhale is when the belly's down. Exhale when the navel's drawn closely in. All right, and then just find your neutral spine. We're going to come right onto our backs now. I'm going to move that blanket out of the way. And we're going to move into the hips. So when you're on your back, in fact, let's just move everything. We're going to come back to it in a minute, but bring your knees into your chest and just stretch one leg long. Oh, feels so good, especially after that extended length child's pose, right? So take the leg closest to me with the knee bent and just move it in the hip socket. If you need a little squirt of oil, right, like the Tin Man, put it right in there and just move around. And then you might want to start like as if you're going to go into a twist, but not yet. Not yet. We'll get there. Take your foot and just point it up towards the ceiling. Let's move the foot, spread those toes apart. Wow. Thank you, feet, for doing all that you do, holding us up, keeping us strong and steady. Okay, what was I just reading? Someone was telling me that they started going to, dang, it's going to drive me crazy. A therapist who was talking about the importance of the feet for alignment. Oh my gosh, it was my dad. My dad was telling me about this talk he went to go hear at his little community center. Had some guy talking about the importance of just aligning the feet. Just that alone did wonders for the whole alignment of your body, which makes sense, right? Feet are the first contact with the earth. All right, so from here, we're going to change sides. Let the other leg float down. Run the other knee in. Give it a nice tight squeeze right into the belly. Ah, feels good. Notice what you noticed this morning. It's just information. Your body might be talking to you and giving you some little messages about what it needs or what it's feeling. On this side, sometimes I get a little tight, so I'll take my thumb and just put it right there in the crease of my hip and just press down a little bit to get rid of any knots, side to side. If you notice any clicking or popping, that's okay. It's just your body making some adjustments. Now, if you feel sharp pain, that's a whole different story. But if it's just a little bit of noise, that's okay. And then, stretch out this leg. This leg loves to be stretched. All right. I'm going to wave my foot. That's about what I can do. Right here, I've got like 4 days left on this cast. I think I'm going to have a cast removal party when that happens. All right. So just move your foot, move your toes, roll your ankle from side to side, all the time kind of holding on to this leg to create some length in the back, in that hamstring. If you're holding your breath, let it out. We take time to explore all these poses. So our normal busy time life, we don't do that, right? We're just moving from activity to activity to activity. My intention is with these pace of my classes that you are unwinding and doing the opposite. Sorry, I'm going to get my bolster here so we can take a twist. So a couple of different ways to support yourself in the twist. I'm going to use a blanket to put behind my back. So you can either roll it up like this or fold it up and just kind of put it right. We're going to twist towards me. So this bolster is here to catch the knee. Okay. So there's a few ways you can take your twist. If you want to put your pillow or your bolster perpendicular to your body and long, you could stretch your leg all the way out and just rest right on the bolster. This is where I like the blanket to go. Nice and snug right up against the back. Oh my goodness. And then the other leg, I'm just lengthening it. If you wanted to bend, you could. And then arms extended out to the sides. I'm going to have to make a couple of adjustments here. I'm going to do the bent knee twist. So you find some variation of this twist that feels right for you. Just let your spine unwind. Pick up your head, gently turn your neck. Find a pleasant expression on your face. Release your jaw if you're clenching. And then use at each exhale to sink down a little deeper into the pose. So while we're talking about, doing things quickly in our daily lives, moving from one thing to one thing to one thing, lacking right now in our culture is the ability to focus and to go deep in our thoughts because we're always just up at the surface, moving, moving, moving. So when you allow your body to sink down like we're doing now, it allows you to practice that skill of really going deep in our consciousness and the way we think and not being up on the surface where we're flitting, switching from task to task or thought to thought. Stay down for just a minute. I'm going to sit up so I can talk. So like I mentioned, we all have both feminine and masculine energies in us. But this today and all month, actually, we'll be talking more about the feminine energy. So I wanted to share with you just a couple of ways that we can connect more to our femininity. One of them we just talked about, which is the ability to reflect, to internally connect to who you really are. So I talk about moving from up in the busy mind and allowing your awareness to drop deeper into that more secret, sacred part of yourself and asking the question, who am I? Who am I really? Meditation, yoga is a really good place to establish that connection, to reflect. I like to pray and meditate in that area. When we're struggling with who we are or what we're doing, coming into that place and connecting with our Heavenly Father is a place where He can remind us of our worth, of who we are, and that we are His precious child. Let's just take 2 more deep breaths right here. Let your spine really take advantage of this twist. Maybe it took a little while to adjust and get really comfortable in it. So then we don't want to leave, right? All right. It is time for us to move into side 2. So move your blanket out of the way. If your leg's extended, bend it. And then just come into a straight spine first. And we're going to take a little bit of movement before we go to side 2. So separate your feet out and just do a little tick-tock here. Everybody breathe. Let out any tension that you're feeling. And then let's get ready for twist on side 2. I think I'm going to just turn around so I'm not looking away from you guys. But you can just turn over to the other side using your support in a way that feels supportive. So I've got this bottom leg, pulled back just a little bit so I can have the support close to me. It's kind of like you're hugging it with your leg. And then use your blanket if you like. You don't have to, it's optional, to support your back. It's always good to feel somebody's got your back, right? That's the sensation that we're going for. So maybe this is a deeper twist than you're used to, using the props in this way. If that's true, it's okay. We're putting more of a yin spin on it. Remember, when we're doing yin poses, we're getting into those deeper parts of the body, the harder parts of the body, the joints, the bones, the connective tissues, even the fascia. Whereas with restorative and with the yin, we feel more sensation in the pose. And when I say sensation, I don't mean pain. I just mean sensation. You feel something, not nothing. Restorative is more, you're not feeling anything, you're just restoring. So you can adjust your twist to go either way. Take more if you want it, and if it feels like too much, dial it back a little bit. You can turn your head too, so you're looking away from that top leg. It's a good place to remind yourself of how flexible you are, right? If you don't bend, you break. So we're staying bendy, my friends. I'm going to come up, but you guys can stay down. All right, another way we can connect more to our femininity and strengthen it is to spend time in nature. The feminine is life force energy. So you think of visiting places like the forest or the parks or the ocean or even the jungle. These are abundant with natural feminine energy. So that's why it feels so good when we're out in nature. One of my favorite things to do is just to sit outside on my patio and just look at the sky and listen to the birds and the trees. So being out in that environment, even if you haven't left your house, is it's very healing, and it really strengthens that feminine energy. So if you haven't done that in a while, think about getting back into nature. Also, it's a great way to help you get back into sync. Just revitalize you. Okay. Let's take 2 more breaths in this twist here. If you just got on, we're just finishing up side 2 of our supported twists. Coming out of our poses just as intentionally as we came into them. So lift up your bottom, make sure your whole body is straight. Move that so you can see. And then just a little tick-tock to reset. Okay. Our next pose is going to be a supported back bend. Back bends are energizing. So it's good to do back bends in the morning. However, this kind of back bend is a little bit more restorative because we're not doing all the work, but we're still getting all the benefits, that opening of the chest. So take your support lengthwise. This is where your back's going to go. And then take 2 blankets, and you can sort of fold/roll them, one for each leg. And then depending on how tall you are, I feel like I'm making a stick person here. Here's the body, here's the legs. And then if you want to, you could put a block underneath your head if you're tall. Usually my head will still stay on the bolster. Okay. So you just put your bottom right at the bottom of this support, whatever it is. You just lean back. So feel that opening in the chest. Go ahead and slide your shoulder blades down because they might pinch up a little bit. Get yourself situated. And then just lengthen out your legs. I want you to feel your body completely supported. Now, if having your arms down, I don't even need that block because my head doesn't get there. You could put some support underneath your elbows or your forearms if they're just kind of hanging and floating there. The more we feel that support underneath our body, the easier it is for us to let go. So that's why we use so many supportive things in this class. I don't want you clenching or trying to get into the pose. This class is not about that. It's about letting go. And when we take time to be still and get into these poses, that's where the healing magic happens. It's not just a good idea, it's really important. So once you've found your happy back bend, let's expand into the belly with some big belly breath. Feel the rise and fall as you breathe. Open up your mouth, exhale out any stale energy. And then just take your hand, like just your fingers like this, and we're just going to tap right there, right below your collarbone, right kind of on your sternum. That's the area of your heart energy, your heart chakra. So we're going to just wake that up, tap on that. Feminine energy has a lot of that heart energy, feeling of love, connectedness. Maybe you feel just a pleasant buzzing moving through your body. Just enjoy that. I'm going to sit. You guys can stay there. Another way to connect more with your feminine energy is to bring out your creative side, exercise your creativity. In fact, a woman's body is made to create, right? We create life. But that's not all we create. We create a lot of things. So envision what you want to create. And when I say it's our nature, I've shared a lot of quotes and talks by our leaders about the importance of creativity. And it's in our nature to create. That's how God made us. But I don't just mean artistic expression, although that is great. As women, as feminine beings, and men have this too, remember, we love to create. It's in our nature to do that. So my challenge for you today, right now, is to think about something that you can create today. Our souls hunger for that. You know, sometimes when we get stuck in our lives, one of the fastest ways to unstick the logjam is to do something creative. Even if it's small, create a meal, create an experience, draw something, play, dance, It doesn't matter, but think about something that you can create today to really strengthen and tap more into that feminine energy. So as you've been thinking about what you can create today, bring yourself back. Sometimes we start on one topic and then we just start to float away into a billion other things. So go ahead and bring your awareness back to you, to your body, to your breathing, to your pose. 2 more big belly breaths here. Feel that residual tension leave your body. Then we're going to move ourselves from back to front. So you can just bend your knees. Let's just roll to the side here. Catch yourself on your elbow, and then the other hand can help push you up. We're just going to flip over like a pancake and come into like a frog pose, maybe. I'm going to show you options. So if that sounds a little bit iffy to you, don't worry, I've got you. So you still have your support here underneath your chest. And then I'll show you first just the one-legged frog, which is one knee bent and one straight. And then you're just going to slide this right underneath your tummy. So I've got one knee bent like this. It's kind of like a right angle. You can use a blanket right here, and you can support if you feel like it's kind of grounding down. So trying to stay kind of centered. Again, this is a hip opener. You probably figured that out, right? And then you can either just rest your hands, your head on your hands, or make any kind of platform you want to. Oops, I just messed up my blanket, but I'm going to make that a little pillow for my head and turn my head. Now you could also do this half frog pose with your bolster turned sideways, and then more of your face and your chest will come down, which is also a nice feeling if you prefer that. Let's see if I can create it here by, nope, I'm too short. I can't do that, but you can if you want. You can turn your bolster sideways. Now, if you really like and you want to try the sensation of both knees in frog pose, you can. It's basically knees wide like this, and just let them slide outward until your body says uncle, and then you just lower yourself down. Keep your toes pulled back, your feet flexed to protect your knees. If you feel any pain here, please come out. Now, if you're doing the one-legged variety, let's go ahead and just come into side 2. So straighten out the bent knee. And then bend the straight knee. Let's see, how was I? Okay, here we go. That's better. If you had your head turned to one side, go ahead and switch sides. Let's be even on both sides. Now, my hip is kind of floating right here. If that's you, you could take a blanket and fill in that gap so you don't feel like you're floating, unless you like that. I'm gonna move everything up just a little bit here. I think I can talk while I'm down. I like this. I don't want to come out. So I'm going to share the next way to strengthen your feminine side, your feminine energy from this position. So hone your emotional expression. What does that mean to hone your emotional expression? It means to get in touch with your feelings. It's okay to do that. We're women. We're feeling creatures. We're touchy-feely. So as you get to know your feeling states, and you're more aware of them, able to express them, you start to feel more whole, okay? Because it's when we, of course, we're all human, men, women, we all have emotions, but sometimes we don't feel them. We just store them because maybe it's not a convenient time to feel them. So we just kind of put them away. But when we do that a lot or for a long time, they begin to stack up. And then because we're meant to express them, eventually they come out, and sometimes in an explosive way. So take time to really hone your emotional expression. That's the full spectrum of emotions, not just the happy ones, but sometimes the sad or angry feelings. Express those too safely, please. Not when you're driving. All right, let's do 2 more breaths in this side. A nice sigh. Let out that stuck energy. And then let's go into another twist because I love twists. So hands underneath your shoulders, press up, and then just sit back a little bit to stretch. We're not going to stay. We already did child's pose here, but feel that stretch in your lower back. And then we're going to move into a deer pose twist. Deer pose is just sitting with your legs staggered like this. And then you can use some support if you want to, but you don't have to have it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like without the support. So first we lift up nice and tall and get the length that we need to make a safe twist. Always lengthen first before you twist. Breathe in. And then we take the twist intentionally from the base of the spine up to the crown. Okay, and then just walk your hands forward a little bit, as much as it feels comfortable to do it. All right, and then maybe you could lower down a little bit, reach forward. You decide how much of a twist you want. So if you're holding your weight on your hands, obviously you can't fully relax. So this is more of a yin approach to a deer pose twist. So find that sensation that feels just right, the Goldilocks, not too much, not too little. And then just breathe into those tight spaces and let them open. How do you know if you're doing too much? If you're holding your breath, if your muscles are tensing, if your jaw is clenching, it's probably too much. So your option, for you experienced yogis, you probably already know how to do the other option, which is just support, holding yourself up with support. You can also lift up at an angle, your support. Then you find the bonus smile. Ah. Wherever you're clenching, let go. You're safe and you're supported. Staying connected to the breath. That's your lifeline, literally. So another way to strengthen your feminine side is to value spontaneity and play. How often do we take time to play? I mean, childlike play, right? You don't have to wait until your next vacation to do this, she says to self. All right. Think about something that you could do to be playful today. How are you at joke telling? If you're not good at jokes, just make them up. That's what my son does. He tells us made up jokes a lot. They're pretty funny. So take mini vacations, listen to music, do yoga, enjoy the moments with the people around you. All right, let's take side 2. So pressing up and then just unwind the spine, unwind the legs, come to side 2. So if you guys want to, you can just turn yourself like this. Oh, I'm going to move everything so I'm not turning my back to you, but you don't have to. So change your legs. Now the other leg is in the front. My set is messy with lots of props. I'm going to lower myself down into a supported one. Remember, you always want to lengthen your spine first. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's very important. I don't want you to injure yourself. So you come into it carefully, gently, and then holding, breathing, and then lowering down if you want to. Remember, if you like the intensity of turning your neck, you can lengthen out the neck. Oh, yes. So now we're wringing out the thoracic, the lumbar spine and the cervical spine, getting all parts of the spine wrung out. That's one way we get rid of toxins is by twisting, turning. It's like wringing out the sponge, right? Feel the weight of your body just sink all the way through, even those little places, the ones where you hold on to until the very end, let those go too. You're held up and supported. And then the last suggestion, you can probably think of more for strengthening your feminine energy, is allow yourself to transform. Be a butterfly. Allow yourself to change. When you feel that sensation that something's coming, that you're wanting to change and transform, allow it. Don't push it down. Don't stuff it. If things in your life aren't working for you, it's feminine energy that surges to make a change. Sometimes it's dramatic even, right? But destruction of old patterns is not a bad thing. Sometimes that's how we start over, is we have to raise the whole house down to the foundation, right? In order to prepare for the new. That's how we are too. Let's take one more deep breath here. I want to make sure we have time for our ending pose. When you're ready. If you're not ready, you can stay. It's fine if you want to stay. But if you want to come down, we're going to do actually one more pose before the resting pose. And that's just a belly down pose. I love this pose. You could use a bolster. I think I'm going to use a blanket that's folded. So I just have this blanket, fold it in half or maybe roll it, and it's going to go underneath your hip points. Okay. So aim your hips right for that blanket and then let your head come down onto the mat, elbows wide. You can actually rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. Just feel that sensation, that comforting sensation of your belly pressing into the support or the floor. This is one of those internal poses where we can naturally, when our body is in this position, it's like we're reflecting more inward. If you feel like you're squeezing anywhere, especially like squeezing your glutes or your legs, try to wiggle a little bit and let that go. Your gluteal muscles are like, they get used a lot in almost everything you do. They're always clenching and squeezing. So here's your chance to just let them go. Two more big breaths here. And then we're going to just flip over onto our backs. Now, if you really like it here, you don't have to move. You can stay. I'll show you the final pose, and then you can decide maybe if you want to take it or if you opt to stay on your belly. Are you a belly sleeper at night? I would like to, but it hurts my back too much. In fact, sometimes I wake up on my belly and my back hurts, so I have to roll to my side. So it's a yoga recliner. Let me think here. You can use a blanket underneath your neck, but it's not just any yoga recliner. It's the burrito legs, my favorite. So we're coming up nice and close, putting the legs up. Just create this tower however you need to, okay? I just washed my hair today and it's super fluffy and flyaway, so I keep trying to see, plus I need a haircut. All right, so burrito legs is just wrapping up your legs like that. Now, if that seems really restrictive and not fun, or if your house is really hot, you don't have to wrap. You can just have your legs up without the burrito style. What is it? Burrito enchilada style with the sauce on it. Oh, that makes me want to eat Mexican food. All right. So once you're here, go ahead and adjust your shoulders. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Create a little shelf for your heart. Your arms are extended with your palms up. Now soften your hands. Put yourself into a receptive pose with the intention of receiving. Make yourself a vessel to receive information, inspiration. Let it land on you right now. And then just draw it down into your heart to process it. Connect with your breathing. Another thing you could do if you have a sandbag, I forgot, but I really love this too, is to put that weight right on your hip points. Just ground you down right here in this sacral chakra area. Sacral, like sacrum. That's the area of our creation. Just ride the waves of your breath right here. Remember that boxed breathing we did at the beginning of class? Inhaling one side, pausing for side two, exhaling side three, and then pause, side four. And just keep tracing the sides. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the feminine energy. Tune into the sensory body rather than the thinking mind to truly connect with your innate intuition. This can be a powerful guide to make decisions. So, in other words, ask the body, not the mind. Sometimes we've been separated from this divine feminine, so we've lost our ability to truly understand this voice. But there's another voice that exists below, the inner critic that sometimes comes out. That's the quieter voice of possibility that encourages you to create and reminds you of your worth. So while you're in this final resting pose, I want you to visualize a golden beam of light starting right here at the heart. So in your mind's eye with your eyes closed, see that golden beam of light, and then turn it up as if you had a little dimmer switch. You can turn up that light, feel it get really bright right there in your chest and your heart, so much so that it radiates outward. So it moves up into your chest, down your arms, from your shoulders to your elbows to your wrists, out through your hands and your fingers. And then feel that vibrance move up into your neck, your throat, your head. And then bring yourself back to the heart and move downward. So feel that radiance in your chest, your back, your belly, your hips, your glutes, to the knees, to the ankles, to the feet and the toes. See yourself as vibrant, like a star shining out through all the ends, the fingers, the toes, the crown of the head. Feel that light encapsulate your whole body and then move outward into the room that you're in, into the community that you live in. That is your innate capability, is to shine that bright. The golden beam of light is the love that your feminine side chooses to share. Whenever we give love and we practice loving kindness, we're strengthening that divine feminine part of ourselves. it's time to start to bring your awareness back into your space. You can do this by just making some movements in your fingers and your toes and your hands and your feet, starting to come back. And then if you like, you can stretch really long. Give yourself a big hug right here. And then draw your knees into your chest. If it feels good, you can rock side to side or even in a circle. And then just roll onto one side. Just pause here for a moment. Allow yourself to feel supported in this very familiar first pose. And then when you're ready, you can start to come up into a seated pose. If you like just laying down, you can just stay down. But if you want to sit up, sit yourself nice and tall. Just kind of let the shoulders come down. Chin is parallel to the floor. Close your eyes, chin to chest. And just checking in on the inside right now. Is there something you need to know or be aware of right now? Asking the perfectly posed question opens up space for the answer. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, breathe up, hands together, and then exhale right into the heart. The feminine one in me honors and sees the feminine one in you. Namaste. Father in heaven, we are grateful for our time together today. We're grateful for so many blessings, for this beautiful earth that we live on. We're grateful for our strong, healthy bodies, and we pray and ask for ourselves to continue to be strengthened. Help us to connect to our divine selves, to understand who we really are, and to tap into those feminine gifts that we've been given as women. Help us to be kind to others and to nurture others and ourselves, especially now when there's so much sadness and sorrow in the world. Help us to do our part to stay connected to Thee and to our Savior. Bless us with wisdom and patience, and especially help us to feel Thy love today, Father, that we might shine it out to those who are in need, that we might drink abundantly from that well for ourselves too. All of these things we pray for in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't go away yet. So I wanted to make a couple of announcements. NamaStream is the platform that I use now, and they're actually changing their name. Nothing else is changing, so don't worry, but they're changing their name to Marvelous, which is kind of cool because NamaStream to me is just a little bit, I don't know. I didn't really love it. So I'm good with that, but just letting you know that's just for your information. Also, Mother's Day is Sunday, so happy Mother's Day. I'm running some specials. So if you're not on social media or on my email list, reach out to me. I'll share what they are. Gift card is one of them. Give the gift of yoga, right? So that's all. Hope you guys have a great day and see you next time.